What?
Your brain is gone.
My what's gone?
It's gone.
What's gone?
Your hair is gone. Your hair is gone.
Do you like it with the hair or without the hair?
Your hair is gone. Mom, why the brain is gone?
Why is my hair gone?
Yeah.
I lost a bet to Uncle Travi and he cut it off.
He cut it off.
He cut my hair off.
That's not nice.
No, it's not.
No, you have to get new hair.
I do have to get new hair.
Travis was moved to tears by his sincere response to Wyatt Kelce's straightforward question about why he loves Taylor Swift at the age of 6. This moment of self-discovery would alter Travis's perception of his own feelings toward the woman he intended to marry. At 4:30 p.m. on June 15, 2024, the sounds of a perfect summer afternoon filled the suburban Philadelphia backyard of the Kelce family. The sounds of children playing, the sizzle of burgers on the grill, and the relaxed conversation of family members gathered together. Jason and Kelce stood at the barbecue, flipping burgers with skill and watching his 3 kids run around the large yard. Travis was sitting on the steps of the back porch, looking through his phone and occasionally looking up to see his nephew and nieces playing. Back in Nashville, Taylor was working hard on her next album in the studio. Travis had therefore traveled alone to Philadelphia for Sunday family dinner with Jason's group, which had turned into a monthly ritual. Since Travis began dating Taylor, these get-togethers had taken on even greater significance. Being around Jason's children caused Travis to reflect on his own future and the family he and Taylor had discussed starting. Travis got a glimpse of the type of father he wanted to be someday by seeing Jason handle fatherhood with such ease. Uncle Travis. From across the yard, where she had been trying to teach her younger sister Elliot the correct way to throw a football, Wyatt called out, "Join us for some playtime." Travis smiled and jogged over to his niece, who was 6 years old, standing with a football nearly as large as herself and a determined look on her face. "Coach, what are we working on today?" Travis knelt to Wyatt's eye level and asked, with the solemn tone of someone who took football very seriously. Wyatt remarked, "Leah keeps throwing the ball wrong. Can you show her the proper way?" Travis worked with both girls on their throwing technique for the next 20 minutes, complimenting them on their progress and cracking jokes when they became frustrated. Travis sat on the steps of the back porch, looking up from time to time to watch his nieces and nephew play while browsing through his phone. Taylor had returned to Nashville and was working hard on her next album in the studio. Travis had therefore traveled alone to Philadelphia for Sunday family dinner with Jason's group, which had turned into a monthly ritual. Since Travis and Taylor began dating, these get-togethers have taken on even greater significance. Being around Jason's children caused Travis to reflect on his own future and the family he and Taylor had discussed starting. One of his favorite things about being an uncle was this: the sheer delight of acting goofy around children who believed he was the world's coolest person. Wyatt and Travis ended up sitting together on the grass taking a water break after Elliot became sidetracked by a butterfly and went off to chase it around the garden. It was one of those quiet moments that frequently occur during family get-togethers when the mayhem subsides for a brief moment and you find yourself in an unexpected conversation. "Uncle Travis," Wyatt said, picking at the grass next to her with the kind of contemplative look she had when she was thinking about something significant. "Yes, Wyatt, may I ask you a question?" "Of course, my dear, you can ask me anything." Wyatt asked him a question that would stick with Travis for the rest of his life as he gazed up at him with those serious brown eyes that resembled Jason's. "Why is Aunt Taylor so dear to your heart?" Travis's lungs felt as though they had been blown out. The question wasn't surprising or improper coming from a 6-year-old who was inherently interested in the adults in her life. It was that no one had ever asked him to use such straightforward language to describe his love for Taylor. "That's a really good question, Wyatt," Travis said slowly, suddenly realizing that this incredibly perceptive little person who had a way of getting right to the heart of things would be listening to and processing whatever he had to say next. "You smile differently when you talk about her, so I'm not sure why it's said with such earnestness. You're also different when she's around. I believe you're happier." Emotion tightened Travis's chest. It touched him deeply that his 6-year-old niece had observed how Taylor influenced him and the change in him that even he occasionally forgot was apparent. Travis said, "You're very observant, Wyatt," giving himself time to think of a child-friendly way to convey the depth of his emotions. "So why?" Wyatt asked, sitting cross-legged in the grass, as if she were ready to hear a lengthy tale. After inhaling deeply, Travis discovered that he was being more truthful than he had anticipated. I love Aunt Taylor because she makes me feel like the best version of myself, he started. Are you aware of what that implies? Wyatt listened carefully and shook her head. It implies that I feel like I can be funnier, kinder, braver, and generally better than I previously believed when I'm with her. She recognizes qualities in me that I was unaware of. Such as? Wyatt inquired with sincere interest. Travis grinned as he considered all the ways Taylor had altered his self-perception in the previous 12 months. She believes that I am intelligent about life, emotions, and literature in addition to football. I didn't think I was the type of person who could have meaningful conversations about significant topics before I met her. However, she listens to me as if my opinions are important. Wyatt gave me a serious nod as though this made perfect sense to her, and she inspires me to improve myself. Travis went on, astonished at how wonderful it felt to express these emotions. When I observe her kindness toward everyone she encounters, it also inspires me to aspire to be kinder. Her dedication to her music inspires me to put more effort into everything I do. At this point, however, Travis said something that would make him cry and revealed to him a side of his own heart that he had not yet fully comprehended. What is my favorite thing about Aunt Taylor Wyatt, though? What? She loves me just the way I am. However, she also thinks I can improve. She inspires me to change in positive ways, but she doesn't try to change me. Travis stopped as he went on, feeling a surge of emotion in his chest. She also gives me a sense of security when I'm having a rough day or I'm afraid of something. Safe to be myself, not just physically, even the aspects of myself about which I am uncertain. Wyatt was listening with the kind of intense concentration that kids bring to discussions that hold significance for them. Like when you're afraid of monsters, she said. Travis chuckled quietly, like that, but with adult anxieties, like worrying that I'm not good enough at something important or that people won't like the real me. And Taylor also assists with those anxieties. She does indeed. She gives me the impression that she will still love me despite my mistakes and bad days. And that gives me the confidence to take risks and express my emotions honestly. Wyatt didn't seem to mind that Travis was becoming emotional while he spoke. She appeared to realize that this was a crucial discussion, if nothing else. Do you think that's why Aunt Taylor loves you too? Asked Uncle Travis Wyatt thoughtfully. Travis felt the question strike him like a lightning strike. He had unintentionally discovered something essential about his relationship with Taylor while attempting to explain his feelings for her to his 6-year-old. Sweetheart, what do you mean? Aunt Taylor is likely to love you for the same reasons that you do if you give her a sense of security, love, and freedom to be herself. Kelce began to cry. At that point, the full, overwhelming tears of someone who has just experienced a profound realization about love and learned something significant from a 6-year-old, rather than the controlled, stoic tears of someone attempting to keep their composure. Wyatt, he said, his voice full of passion, I think that was the wisest thing anyone has ever said to me. Wyatt appeared to be happy with herself, but she was also a little worried about Travis's tears. Are you crying because you're depressed? She inquired. No, dear, I'm crying because you just gave me a beautiful new perspective on love. What did I clarify for you? After wiping his eyes, Travis embraced Wyatt. You made it clearer to me that true love is more than just two people falling in love. It's about two people helping each other feel like their best selves, safe and courageous. Isn't that good? Wyatt inquired. The world's greatest thing is that. From the other side of the yard, Travis said. Jason, who had been observing this exchange, came up to them, looking interested. Everything okay over here? Observing Travis's emotional state, Jason inquired. Wyatt just taught me something important about love. With a grateful glance at his brother, Travis said, what did she teach you? That Taylor may love me for the same reason that I do. We give each other the impression that we can be who we are and still be fully loved. Jason grinned, instantly seeing his brother's emotional response to this realization. Wyatt, that's a pretty smart observation. I know, Jason told his daughter. With the assurance of a 6-year-old who had just solved him, Wyatt responded, significant adult issue. I'm crying because you just gave me a beautiful new perspective on love. What did I clarify for you? After wiping his eyes, Travis embraced Wyatt. You make it clearer to me that true love involves more than just two people falling in love. It's about two people helping each other feel like their best selves, safe and courageous. Is that good? Wyatt asked. According to Travis, that is the greatest thing ever. However, the discussion continued. And one of Travis's most treasured memories would be what Wyatt said next. And Taylor is truly fortunate, said Wyatt, referring to Uncle Travis. Why is that? Because not everyone is able to find someone who simultaneously gives them a sense of courage and security. It's similar to discovering a superhero for emotions. Travis chuckled, astounded by this young girl's capacity to condense difficult feelings into flawless comparisons. Wyatt, you know what? You're entirely correct. My emotional superhero is Aunt Taylor, and I hope I'm hers as well. I believe you are, Wyatt stated breezily, because when she talks about you, she also smiles differently. Travis called Taylor that night to update her on his chat with Wyatt. As he recalled the lessons his 6-year-old niece had taught him about love, he found himself crying again. Taylor asked, and Travis heard the smile in her voice as she said that. She did. And Taylor, it helped me realize something that I doubt I could have previously articulated. What is that? You are not the only reason I love you. Being with you makes me who I am, which is why I love you. And after hearing me tell Wyatt that, I realized that's probably how you feel about me as well. After a brief period of silence, Taylor's voice was full of emotion. That's exactly how I feel about you, Travis. Instead of Taylor Swift as a brand, you make me feel like Taylor from Pennsylvania. You give me the impression that being who I am is sufficient. Travis laughed as Wyatt described it as being each other's emotional superhero. I adore that, Taylor remarked. And I adore that you were able to discover something about us from a 6-year-old that we might not have otherwise been able to articulate. Travis said, I love you, Taylor, with more sincerity than he had ever shown. Travis, I also adore you, and express my gratitude to Wyatt on my behalf for assisting the most significant individual in my life in realizing how unique what we have is. Travis would bring up that discussion with Wyatt in his proposal speech 3 months later when he asked Taylor to marry him. When a 6-year-old taught him that love wasn't about finding someone who was perfect, but rather about finding someone who made you feel perfect just the way you are, he would tell Taylor that he knew he wanted to marry her. However, Wyatt's query had an effect that went well beyond that particular exchange. Travis found himself reflecting on Wyatt's words throughout his entire training session the following day. He reflected on how Taylor celebrated his accomplishments without letting them affect her every time he caught a pass or finished a drill. He recalled how Taylor's confidence in him inspired him to improve each time he offered support to a younger teammate. Travis did something he had never done before that night. He took a seat and composed a letter to Taylor. It was a handwritten letter, not an email or text, that attempted to convey all that Wyatt had explained to him about their relationship. The letter started, "Dear Taylor, Wyatt asked me yesterday why I love you." I also discovered that I had never really put it into words for myself when I was attempting to explain it to a 6-year-old. You give me the impression that I'm sufficient just the way I am, but that I can achieve even more than I ever imagined. According to Wyatt, you are my emotional superhero, and I hope you feel the same way about me. 3 days after receiving the letter, Taylor called Travis right away and broke down in tears of joy. She sobbed as she said, "I've never received a love letter from anyone before. This is not a real one. And after reading what you said about how I make you feel, Travis, I can relate to that exactly. Why was she correct? According to Travis, we have similar reasons for loving one another. She was absolutely correct. And I have something to tell you, Travis. That young girl's wisdom extends beyond love. She is wise in life. Because we adults overcomplicate things, she sees things that adults miss. As a result, Travis and Taylor developed a new custom. How would we explain this to Wyatt? Was a question they would ask themselves whenever they were having trouble understanding how they felt about something in their relationship. The activity compelled them to face their feelings head-on without becoming mired in the complications and anxieties of adulthood. Wyatt used the kid-friendly phone Jason had given her for emergencies and special occasions to call Travis 2 weeks after the barbecue. When he responded, she said, "Uncle Travis, I have another question." "What's that, my love?" "Will your wedding be large or small when you wed Aunt Taylor?" Travis chuckled, astounded by this young girl's ability to ask questions that get right to the point. "We haven't yet discussed that. Why do you ask, Wyatt? Since your family is the only group of people who will always love you, I believe you should have a small wedding with them. And that's the essence of true love, isn't it? Emotion tightened Travis's throat once more. That's another really astute observation, Wyatt. I am aware that she stated matter-of-factly, Uncle Travis, that young girl is wise about life as well as love. Because we adults overcomplicate things, she sees things that adults miss. As a result, Travis and Taylor developed a new custom. How would we explain this to Wyatt? Was a question they would ask themselves whenever they were having trouble understanding how they felt about something in their relationship. The activity compelled them to face their feelings head on without becoming mired in the complications and anxieties of adulthood. Will you remember to invite me to your wedding at Elizabeth Kelce? Why? You will be among the most significant individuals at our wedding, Travis stated. I swear. Good, she said contentedly, because I want to see you cry tears of joy once more. When Travis and Taylor were actually planning their wedding 6 months later, they decided on a small private ceremony that would only include their closest friends and family. Wyatt would be their flower girl, and she would walk down the aisle with the assurance of someone who had helped them discover their love. The way Wyatt's question altered Travis's relationship with every child in his life, however, was arguably its most lovely result. He began paying attention to children in a way he had never done before, realizing that their inquiries frequently held knowledge that adults had forgotten. During his charitable visits to children's hospitals, he engaged in more in-depth discussions with the young patients, hoping to learn as much from them as he was imparting. Do you think being brave means not being scared, or being scared but doing the important thing anyway? Asked an 8-year-old boy with cancer. The query sparked a 20-minute discussion that gave Travis a whole new perspective on bravery. In response to children's questions about football during school visits, he began asking them about their passions, their sources of courage, and their sources of love. He found that children had life lessons that adults could learn to improve their quality of life. What's funny, you know? One evening following a particularly significant visit to a nearby elementary school, Travis told Taylor, "Prior to Wyatt asking me why I love you, I believed that talking to children was only for their amusement or education. However, I now see that they are among the most sincere and thought-provoking discussions I have." "What did you discover today?" Taylor inquired. "I'm always interested in learning about his school visits." Emma, a 10-year-old girl, told me that the best indicator of true love is when someone looks forward to seeing you even on a bad day. That's exactly how I feel when I see Taylor, and that's how she makes me feel when she sees me, I thought. Taylor grinned, fully comprehending. Youngsters are not yet able to lie about their emotions. They simply speak the truth. That's right, and why, for me, it was the beginning of all that. That one question altered my perspective on both listening to others and love. However, Travis discovered something that would influence not only his relationship with Taylor, but all of his future relationships when he was sitting in the grass in Jason's backyard with his astute little niece. That the most surprising sources frequently reveal the most profound truths about love. And sometimes it takes a child to explain their feelings to adults. How do you feel about its innocent wisdom? Have you ever been asked a straightforward question by a child that helped you realize something significant? People who haven't learned to complicate their feelings with adult expectations and fears can sometimes offer the most profound insights about love. And here's something lovely to think about. Finding someone who helps you become the person you were always meant to be is what true love is all about, not someone who completes you. Please hit the like button and share a time when someone helped you better understand your own relationships if this story served as a reminder of the value of straightforward inquiries and open dialogue. And sign up for more touching tales about your favorite stars.